Hello again there folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thanks very much for stumbling your way upon my channel, joining me for another adventure. Today I'm going to be playing through a game from Headcheese Productions. It is called Stalker. It's based on a game from, sorry for forgetting, Dungeon Havoc called Korg, and it's set in one of Headcheese's favourite settings, which is the sort of the scary zone, the alien areas of Earth that have mysteriously appeared, these strange zones, which is also the subject of his zine game Escape the Zone. But this is Stalker. This has been printed by me without the cover, so it has got a nice cover. There's a little bit of art scattered throughout it as well. This is the low ink version, so I think the high ink version looks a little bit nicer if you don't mind punishing your printer a little bit. And this is an ashcan version that Headcheese has released. I think an ashcan version essentially is the game is complete, but it has not been heavily edited and laid out to make it look super beautiful. But if you want to give it a play nonetheless, it is available on DriveThruRPG. There will be a link down in the description below, and we're going to play through it today, and you will see that it is a fairly simple game that you do not need to prepare for before playing. You just open the book and get on with it. So you are a stalker, an outlaw scavenger who enters the exclusion zone to bring back powerful artifacts. Between space-time anomalies, radiation, mutated creatures roaming around, bandits and rival stalkers, death lurks at every corner. The only thing that keeps you going is the perspective of an early retirement. Save $100 and you can hang up your Kalashnikov for good. You begin with 20 hit points max. You die if it's reduced to 0. Your only possessions are a rifle, an unlimited ammo supply, and $6. So we need to record our HP. Maybe we'll put our max in a little box and then we'll count it down there. And then we need our money, and we've got $6. So between excursions into the zone, you can shop at the black market and rest. I don't know whether we can spend some money straight away. I might assume that you can. So what shall we go for here? I might just go straight in on some armour. So armour gives us +1 fight. And I'm putting a little tick there because the armour will only last us 1 excursion. After that it's all bashed up and you can't use it again. So that's just a little reminder that it's a one-time use thing, and it's costing me $3. So we've got some information on resting, which we don't need to do yet. A little bit of detail on how to fight. Having the option to abort an excursion between 2 locations. Anomalies, which are strange things you can encounter in the zone. Artifacts, which are cool things you can find, and how to deal with other tests. Special conditions, and jobs. And this is where we have to start making a few more notes. So that, by the way, is the extent of the character creation. HP, money, an item if you want it, and then you're in. So jobs. To make money you need to take jobs. You can never accept more than 1 job at a time. If you choose to forfeit a job, you must pay a £5, not pounds is it, $5 penalty fee. If you can't pay the fee, you can't forfeit the job. So that's one problem with buying something. It's taken me below $5, which means that I cannot forfeit this job if it turns out to be a disaster. But never mind, those who go into the zone take their lives into their own hands. If we forfeit 3 jobs, we lose the game. A successful job will give us some money. We can find stuff. We can keep stuff that we find. We can sell stuff at the black market if we want. And we need to generate a job. There's 6 possible jobs. 2. Sabotage. Once you clear your target location, plant the explosive device you're carrying and GTFO before you're shredded to bits. Target location factory. So what you do in this game is you go through a series of random locations, I think it might be 3 or 4, and then you enter your target location, which is unique. There's a number of unique target locations which have different encounters for them. So our target location is the factory. We've got a little special note here for this particular job type. After clearing the target location, roll 2d6. If you roll double ones, snake eyes, you mess up and blow yourself up in the process. They will find traces of your DNA sprinkled over the zone like confetti for years to come. So we've got a small chance there of it just being a disaster randomly at the end. Sometimes that's the way it goes in this game. Right, so we need to make some notes. So job 1 is a sabotage job. So we've got some optional weather rules, which we're not going to use on this occasion, and then some details on how to run an excursion. Once you have a job and a destination, you're ready to start your excursion into the exclusion zone. An excursion is made of these steps: cross the cordon, zone encounter, deep zone encounter, and target location. So you'll have a total of 4 encounters for 1 excursion into the zone. And when you've done those, the excursion is successful. And this is how it goes. You have a bunch of random encounters based upon the location. So we'll have 1 in the cordon, 1 in the zone, 1 in the deep zone, and then 1 based upon the location you're going into, which might be the factory, might be the bunker, might be the forest, or the cemetery. And yeah, that's it. We've got a couple more bits at the end, but that is by and large it. So you can see that this is quite a straightforward little game, very minimal. We've got a little 17-page zine here, and 2 of those pages are illustrations. So it's quite a meditative game to play. The stakes aren't particularly high because if your character dies, you can immediately roll up another character. And yeah, it's like Korg in that way as well. Right, so we need to start with an encounter in the cordon, which is the first area that you go into when you go into the zone. Access to the exclusion zone is strictly prohibited to anyone unless they're mandated by the Institute. The cordon is guarded 24/7 by trigger-happy soldiers authorised to shoot trespassers on sight. Here we go. 2. Soldier. X3. Damage 2. $2. Special. Each turn you fail to defeat a soldier, roll 1d6. On a 1, another soldier joins the fight. So soldiers can multiply. So we're fighting. This here is the rules on how to conduct a fight. As you can see, super straightforward. Roll greater than X on d6 to defeat the enemy and get the money. Fail and suffer damage, then try again. Once the threat is defeated, the area is cleared. So we're going to try and roll more than 3. And our armour gives us +1 fight, which means we're going to be adding 1 on. 2, that's a fail, which means we're taking 2 damage. So we need to roll. If we roll a 1, another soldier joins. No, not so. Let's roll for another round of combat. 6, that is a success, and the soldier is defeated, and we gain $2. So that's the cordon. Then we're going to go on to the zone. You are on exclusion zone territory now. Better watch your step and keep your eyes peeled. Anomalies and mutant creatures are lurking. So we're going to roll 1d6 again. 2. Anomaly, scorched grass. Contact with exposed skin causes severe burns. So with anomalies, you have to roll greater than X on D6 to navigate the anomaly without taking any damage. Fail and suffer the damage and then move on. Armour doesn't protect against anomalies. I've just realised that it's not armour, is it? I was having a bit of a slow brain day moment there. It's armour piercing ammo, not armour. I was during that fight thinking, well, why would armour increase my ability to fight? There we go. That makes more sense. Right, so we've come across this scorched grass. We need to try and avoid it by rolling more than 3. 3 is a fail. That is a shame because we would have got an artifact if we succeeded. But never mind, that's 3 points of damage, taking me down to 15. But regardless, we failed to negotiate the scorched grass. It did us damage, but we're going to continue on to the deep zone encounters. You thought the exclusion zone was dangerous before. I have bad news for you. It gets worse. The deep zone ain't nothing to fuck with, Stalker. The nearer you are to the heart of the zone, the angrier everything around you gets. So worse stuff now. And we've got another anomaly, Anvil. A formidable surge in gravity that crushes you like you were an anvil smitten by an invisible hammer. X3, damage 3, artifact. So we're going to roll to see whether we can avoid it. Yes, we did. Fantastic. And we get an artifact as well. Right at the back, we've got the artifact table. What have we got? 2. Crystal Bell. Carrying this artifact shields its owner against fear. You can never become shaken. Lovely. So that's a nice little bonus. But now we've got to go into the factory. This factory has been abandoned for so long that there's not much left of its past vocation. It is now the domain of rust, debris, weeds, dirt and vermin, which makes it an ideal spot for shady encounters. Alright, so let me just double check the sabotage mission. Yep, so the only thing that's different is having to do that 2d6 roll at the end. So let's see what we find in the factory. 5. Enemy, fleshy spider, 8-legged creature the size of a large dog, made of human tissues and highly intelligent. It creeps in the shadows until a prey is near, then leaps on their skull to feed on their brains. So this has got X5, which means we've got to roll more than 5. Remember, we're adding on +1 because of our armour-piercing ammo. And you can see why I've got that now, because otherwise the only way to defeat the fleshy spider would be to roll a 6. At least now we get to do it on a 5 or a 6, but quite frankly, I mean, if it gets us 3 times, if we fail to do that 3 times, it's going to kill us. But that's the way it goes. Let's give it a go. Right, so that's 5 points of damage. That's 10 points of damage. Oh, and we survived. We killed it on the 3rd hit. And that would have killed us if we didn't succeed. So that's all right. That's pretty good. Just about managed it there. Just about squeaked it. We're getting $10 for killing the fleshy spider. We need to roll 2d6, and if we roll double ones, we blow ourselves up while we're trying to plant the explosive device. No, that is fine. So our job is successfully completed. A successful job pays $2d6. Ooh, had we have rolled that a second earlier, we'd be dead. So we get a paltry $2, taking me up to 17. And that is the end of our first excursion into the zone. Now, before we go back in, we will do some healing, we'll do some resting, and we will probably buy something in the black market. So I am going to repurchase the armor piercing bullets. That'll take me down to 14 monies. And obviously we need to do some resting. We can rest as many times as we want. Each dollar that we spend on the safe place where we're resting will allow us to regain 2 HP. And we need to remember to rest when we're inside the zone as well. Possibly we should have done that. It's a bit risky resting inside the zone, but I think it's probably worth the risk. $1 for 2 HP. So if I spend 4 HP, $4, that would get me 8, which will take me back up to 13. Let's do one more, taking me up to 15, which leaves me with $9, which is more than I started out with. So I'm making progress as we continue in our efforts to get that $100, which will allow us to retire. But in order to do that, we need to do another job. 3. What does that give us? Escort mission. A scientist hires you to be their guide and bodyguard and escort them to a target location and back. You're not sure you understand what they want to observe, sample or collect, and frankly you don't really care. As long as they make it worth your while. The job is automatically over if your client dies and you don't get paid. Target location is the bunker. Every time you suffer damage, roll a d6 before subtracting it from your total. On a 1, the client gets hit instead. Your client starts with 6 HP. They don't have an attack. You can put armor on them and heal them with items, however. By armor, I'm guessing it means a bulletproof vest. But that's quite expensive. We're not going to put no bulletproof vest on them. They're just going to have to take their chances. So this is job 2. And then I might put a little HP tracker here for them. So they're starting on 6. And we're heading to the bunker. And I need to remember whenever I suffer damage to check to see whether it goes on them instead. Right, so we're back in the cordon. Back into the zone. 3. Stray dog. Special, if you beat stray dog's X on the first turn, you can tame it instead of killing it. Don't collect the money. Dog gives you +1 fight, +2 max HP. Why would I not do that? That sounds great. Let's try and defeat it. Yeah, we successfully did. So we are going to tame that dog. So I'm going to adjust the max HP there to 22. And our fight, we're currently getting +1 for the dog and +1 for the armor piercing ammo. So that is pretty awesome. Don't think I've had the stray dog before. Onto the zone area. Anomaly Witch's Brew, a pond of bubbling and steaming green sludge. Extremely caustic. X3, damage 3, artifact. Here we go. 1 solid fail. So we need to make sure that we are taking the damage and not our scientist who we're escorting. So we're going to roll roll d6, and on a 1 the client gets hit instead. 3, that is okay. I'd rather take the damage myself. So what was that? The Witch's Brew. So we're taking 3 damage, taking us down to 12. Now, between areas of the zone, we can rest. And when you rest in the zone, it's a bit risky. So you have to roll 1d6, and if you roll a 1 or a 2, we have to fight the first enemy from the encounters table of the location that you're currently exploring, which I guess is the location that we're currently in, which is the zone. 6, that is safe, so we're going to rest and regain 2 HP, and we're going to go on to the deep zone. Here we go. 2. Anomaly, lots of anomalies. Springboard. This anomaly projects you up in the air, then violently slams you down on the ground. Ooh. X4 3 damage artifacts. I've got to roll more than 4 to avoid the springboard. That was a 2, unfortunately. We have failed to avoid it. We need to roll to see whether the scientist is getting hit. Oh, 1, the scientist is getting hit. And that's doing 3 points of damage, taking the scientist down to 3. That's not good. Alright, but we continue on nonetheless, and we need to go into the bunker area. This underground facility belongs to a shady paramilitary organisation known as the Prism. Nobody knows exactly what their end goal is, but they sure as hell seem to have an eerie reverence for everything related to the zone. Let's see what's going to happen here. 4, enemy surveillance drone. X4, damage 4, $5 for taking it out. Now, because this is fighting, we're adding on 2. Remember, that's adding on 1 for our fancy ammo, and adding on another 1 because our dog is helping us as well now. 5 plus 2 is 7, which comfortably takes out the surveillance drone. We need to make sure that it's happening to us and not the scientist. 1. That's bad news, isn't it? That's bad news. Scientist dead. Oh no. Scientist dead. That was all going so well. That was all going so well. So what happens if the scientist dies? Job is over automatically if your client dies and you don't get paid. That's awful news. So I suppose that counts as a forfeit job, I would say. We failed the job. So that's 1 down. And we don't make any money, which is awful. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. We do get the money for taking out the drone, and we get $5 for that. Not too bad. So at least we can restock before we take on another job, which is hopefully a bit more successful than that one. Sorry, scientist, didn't work out for you. So there you go. That is Stalker from Headcheese Productions, and you can see that it's a very straightforward little game. Minimal learning rules overhead. You can get into it within a minute or two. Not even that. 30 seconds really. You start playing the second you start reading, and you can have a little fun adventure. Hope you enjoyed that, folks. If you want to check this game out, you can find a link down in the description below. There will also be a link there to my playthrough of Escape the Zone and to my playthrough of Korg. So if you want to check out those 2 games, you can follow the links and watch them right now. But I hope you enjoyed that one, folks. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.